Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching Thursday Nights with 912 Sports on a Monday. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined as always by podcast host and writer Kevin Price. Kevin, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm good, Sean. How about you?
Man, doing great. Big week of sports all around the world. You and I both had big baseball games going on. State playoff games. NFL draft happened last Monday. We had our big, all sports award banquet, which was a huge success. Want to give a big shout out to Rob Asbell. He done a fantastic job on putting that program together, and congratulations to all of our winners. Very well deserved. The all sports banquet, Kevin, it was kind of when we focus on some sports that don't get a lot of love. Football always gets the love. Seems like basketball, baseball, they get plenty of love, but not a whole lot of love for girls golf, not a whole lot of love for riflery and boys soccer and those sort of things. And that's what we kind of try to focus on with the all sports awards banquet. And again, Rob done a fantastic job on putting that together. So congratulations to all the winners.
Yeah, Rob, outside of the student athletes that won the awards, Rob's the MVP of the night. A lot of background work, a lot of leg work on his part went into that. A lot of production work, putting that together piece by piece. And, that was really all his own. We all kind of contributed to that. You certainly the most, with you doing a lot of on-camera work as well. But you two guys did a good job of piecing that together and putting that production together. But, we've known all year long outside of football, certainly a lot of good athletes playing football. And we honored those guys and those teams back right after football season, which this year carried us into January with our football awards. But, this show that we did in the spring, although it was a spring show, it was everything but football. And that did include the winter sports, basketball and wrestling and so forth. But certainly all the spring teams as well. We all know that the spring sports schedule is loaded. And, this was the time of year last year where COVID shut us down in mid-March. And so certainly from that standpoint, it was a winning spring. Looks like we're going to make it all the way through the spring sports season with pretty much every sport, well, really every sport into their postseason now on the spring sports calendar. And it was good to see these teams and these kids get through a season and get into the postseason and crown region champions. And now we're headed to crowning state and individual champions in certain sports. And again, another banner year for a lot of 912 teams and certainly a lot of student athletes. And as Rob did those voiceovers and called out those kids' names, I mean, a lot of these awards, are certainly what these kids did this season. But in a lot of ways, kind of like the Heisman Trophy is sometimes, just to kind of put it in perspective, is sometimes a career award. And these kids, not only had a good year this year, a lot of these athletes winning for what they did this year have had great careers, whether it's all 4 years, 3 years, maybe playing 2 years on their varsity teams at their schools. They string together multiple years of success. And it's always impressive to hear what a lot of these kids do, whether they play at the smaller classifications or the larger classifications in our area.
Right. And one of the things, if you missed it, fans, you can always go back and watch it. It's on the front page of 912sports.net. Rob's got it cataloged there. You just hit the button and go. And thank you to all those student athletes that took the time, Kevin, to record their little spots and send in. I think that really kind of, adds a lot to the shows for those guys to, kind of give us a little thank you video for putting it together. But I really appreciate those guys putting in the time to, get that together and getting it in so we could, make it a part of the show. But of course, Kevin, one of the big things that you and I have been involved with and 912sports.net's been involved with is baseball season. We've got all the first round games out of the way, and I just want to go quickly through a laundry list of who's still playing and who was eliminated in the first round, and then we'll get into the where and the Glenn, the stuff that we've got on our website for broadcasting. But Camden played in the first round. Unfortunately, they lost. 6A, Kevin, which is the region that Glenn is in. All four of those teams, not only did they win, Kevin, they all swept. Every one of them. 2 games are done. Everybody get back on the bus and go home because Region 2 6A is playing really good baseball. And we knew that going into the playoffs that those guys were going to be a tough out. 5A, which is where Ware plays, all 3 of those teams win. Now, Coffee did have to go to a game 3, but they rolled in game 3. I think that final was 14-3 or something like that in 5 innings. So they actually, come away with winners. So Coffee, Wayne, and Ware moving on from 5A. 3A, all three teams from our area that were playing in 3A, they all swept Appleton, Pierce, and Long. Everybody, 2 games and done. Moving on to round 2. In AA, we kind of had a split. 2 teams made it. 2 teams went by the wayside. But Vidalia and Jeff Davis, Coach Paul Glass, and the Vidalia bunch are playing really, really good baseball. We knew that from Jump Street. They're going to continue on to the second round. But Bacon season and Toombs is over. They actually got put out in the first round. And then Charlton in single A. Charlton played our only other single A team, which was McIntosh, and Charlton wound up winning that just like back in football. I think they played in the first round, and one of them's got to be gone, and Charlton was able to win that matchup. So MCA is gonna they're gonna play next year, but their season's over this year. Charlton, just a few years removed from a state championship, they're going to continue on to play, and they're going to be a tough out there in single A. But we'll go back and we'll start in 6A, Kevin. We've got an interview with Coach Scott Strickland, so we're going to talk to him in depth about Richmond Hill. But what else can you say about Glenn and let's see, South Effingham and Statesboro? All these teams, man, are just playing really, really good baseball right now.
Yeah, for sure. And we knew this would be a pretty good region going into the region play and really going into the season. Going into the season, we were certainly hoping that the better teams weren't affected by COVID, and I think everybody made it through there pretty well. Everybody had their bumps and bruises along the way, I think, with that, but nothing too serious, I don't think. And the funny thing is, South Effingham got off to a little bit of a slow start, and they got swept by Glen Academy. Credit to them, they bowed their neck and come back and win the region. It took all the way to the end, but they got it done. And then Richmond Hill loses 2 out of 3 to Brunswick to start the region schedule, and then to Glenn to start the region schedule. And they come all the way back with, I think, probably the best pitching staff, starting pitching wise, in the region from what I saw. Of course, they had Leighton Finley, who's the ace of all aces, I guess you could say, a junior who's already committed to the University of Georgia. Late coming off that Richmond Hill basketball team that made a run to the Elite Eight. And I saw him. He was not really firing on all cylinders, but he was firing that ball in there early on against Brunswick. And I saw him again against Glenn. But I think he just got better and better offensively as well. And Richmond Hill battles back and ends up playing South Effingham at the end, the way it worked out in a game 3 on the final night of the regular season for a chance to win the region championship. And South Effingham beats them 1-0 at Richmond Hill. And then, of course, Glen Academy involved in that mix going into the last week of the regular season. The Red Terrors actually were kind of in the catbird seat, if you will, the driver's seat. All 3 of those teams had 4 regional losses, but Glen had beaten those teams in their head-to-head series, swept South Effingham to start off the region schedule, won 2 out of 3, like I said, to Richmond Hill. So if there was any kind of tied situation involving Glen, they had the tiebreaker. Well, Glen goes out and loses 2 tough ones to Statesboro, who ends up as the number 4 seed in the first 2 games on the final week of the season, and lost a tough one in the middle game at home, a game that was 3-3 late, got away from Glen Academy. And to Glen's credit, Sean, they go on the road. They really could have fallen apart, and I think this could be a game that we look at that could have been a catalyst to any kind of run they might make. They go on the road to Statesboro on a Friday night, last game of the regular season, and knocked the cover off the ball and scored double digits. What was the score? 13-5. We were there, you and your son. Right. Won that game 13-5, and that was key because Glen Academy needed that win to at least finish second, and they got it done. And when Richmond Hill lost, they went down to the third hole, and South Effingham was 1, Richmond Hill 2, Glen 3, Statesboro 4. And here we are, everybody, like you said, got it done with sweeps in round 1. So I think it's pretty safe to say that Region 2 was better than that Region 3, the Augusta area region, particularly with our 4 seed Statesboro going on the road, beating their 1 seed Lakeside Evans, not only winning, but like you said, a sweep on the road. And, speaking of Glen the other night, of course, we were there doing that series, and that may have been, a series that I looked at with Glen having a slight edge, but I think clearly they were the better team there. Really, Glenn is coming to life at the right time. They've had pretty good starting pitching all year long, but man, their hitting is what's really been impressive here down the stretch. They had over 30 hits in that series against Statesboro, but like I said, only got the one win. And then they came out ripping the cover off the baseball in game one of that Grovetown series. Had 17 hits in that game, scored 10 runs, came back, won the next game. What was it? 6-3?
7-3.
I've already forgotten. I've already kind of started looking at Westlake. 6-3. It was a low scoring game early, but Glenn got some hits together and scored some big runs and ended up winning that game 6-3. So Glenn's looking good at the 2 seed. South Effingham swept, like you say. Richmond Hill, they scored double-digit runs, I think, in both of their games on the road to win that series against Evans. Normally a power in the state, nowhere near as good, obviously, as they have been at one time, certainly in the 80s when they racked up some state titles. And then, of course, Statesboro getting it done impressively over Lakeside. So here we are with 6A. Maybe the toughest classification in the state, Sean. I'm not real sure. I know 7A might want to argue with me. But we've got teams in 6A that are ranked in the country, leading off
number one.
Buford, and number one in the country at that. I hate to say it, but everybody else may be playing for second. We'll see. But we've got 4 of the 16 from right here in South Georgia in that same region. And, it's going to be some tough baseball. Richmond Hill's got to play Houston County. Houston County ranked anywhere in the top 5, depending on what poll you want to go by. Lee County and South Effingham will be a good little matchup, I think. Of course, South Effingham will be at home over there in Guyton. And then, of course, Glenn going on the road to play Westlake. Now, here's a series where I think Glenn goes with a lot of confidence, a lot of momentum. That long bus ride, we will have to see if that affects Glenn. I think they're going up on Tuesday. That series scheduled to start on Wednesday. Taking nothing away from Westlake, but when you look at their region, I don't know that that's really a baseball region.
Right.
They're known for football and basketball. And, of course, Westlake is where Cam Newton went to school. Take that for what it's worth. But when you look at who they played, Northside, Warner Robins, Northside was way down. I mean, they were a true 4. They won like 6 games in Region 1 and didn't win a region game.
Yeah, right.
And then when you look at so that should, from that standpoint, maybe it's a favorable matchup for Glenn, kind of a different number 1 seed than what you might really think of as a 1 seed. And then our other team, Statesboro, plays a pretty good Valdosta team. It was the 2 seed out of Region 1. So we've got a chance to take a couple of series here, I think. And, again, I think Richmond Hill's got the pitching to certainly hold up against Houston County, but Houston County is really solid. I think Glenn has a chance. I think South Effingham has a chance. And things may be a little tough for Statesboro. We'll see.
Yeah, but again, if all 4 of them teams were to sweep again, Kevin, would not surprise me at all. They're playing really good, and it's like you said, Glenn is hitting on all cylinders at the right time. So we will have the Glenn games. Right now, they're scheduled for Wednesday, 2 games on Wednesday, if game on Thursday. There is some weather. I think there's a 70-80% chance of rain on Wednesday, so we'll see what happens. But check out 912sports.net. We'll keep you posted right there. You can listen to all the games from 912sports.net. We'll have them all live as soon as they decide on times and playing. Like I said, right now it is scheduled for Wednesday, but we'll see what the weather does to that. But coming back over here go ahead.
Did you get some inside information from Coach Strickland that makes you feel good about a sweep? I'd like to see Richmond Hill do it, but Houston County now.
Oh, no.
They're good. They're good.
I
might take Richmond Hill to 3-game series. We may need to talk off the air here.
I don't know nothing about no sweep. It's gonna be. No, when I said that, I meant that all 4 teams would win. I didn't mean they would sweep.
Okay.
No, I meant all 4 teams would move on to the 3rd round. When I said sweep, I meant that all 4 would win. That's what I was.
Gotcha.
That's what I was referring to. Yeah. So don't put words in my mouth.
Okay.
I don't need Scott calling me up. Going, hey, I didn't say that.
I got you.
But coming back over here to Ware, we got a big 5A region. Ware was a 2 seed going into this, but the 4 seed McIntosh was able to beat Woodward Academy, who was the 1 seed, and so now McIntosh has to travel to Ware. So Ware's actually going to get the same benefit of being a 1 seed. They're going to get 2 series at home. They were big winners over Union Grove. Really, it was in control of both of those baseball games. I can't remember what the score was. I think 9-1 in the first one. I think 7-2 in the second one. But we're really, pitched both games well, swung the bats really, really good, had some good timely hitting. So put themselves in a position to play for round 2. As a matter of fact, Noah Hooks pitched a complete 7-inning game, and then Caden Henderson followed it up with a complete 7-inning game. And you got to feel good of a coach, Kevin, if you walk out there on the mound, or your pitcher walks out there on the mound in the first inning and he walks off the mound in the 7th inning and hands you the ball. You've probably had a pretty good night if that's the case. And that was what happened for the Gators. Now what they've got to do, they've got to come back in and take on McIntosh. They're the Chiefs out of Peachtree City. They're a pretty good baseball team. I think they're a lot better than the 1 seed that they played in Woodward Academy. But as a matter of fact, they played the same Union Grove team that Ware just beat, and they beat them, I think, 6-2 or something like that. So McIntosh is playing some really, really good baseball, so don't let that 4 seed fool you. But it's going to be some good baseball played here in 5A. Coffee got a big challenge coming up with them, and then also Wayne's got a big challenge. They're going to be playing Northside Columbus, and Coffee is going to be playing Stars Mill. All of those have very, talented rosters. But Wayne's a notch above everybody. I mean, they're not your normal 5A school. I mean, these guys, they are a program. They are not a team. The old adage, they don't rebuild, they just reload. And that's kind of ever since Justin McDonald's taken over that program. That's what they've been able to do over the last several years. So it'll be interesting to see, but I think all 3 of those schools have an opportunity to play in round 3 as well. So we'll see what happens with that. But Ware starts their series tomorrow. First pitch is at 5:00. You can catch that on 912sports.net. So tune in and you can hear all the action. Myself and Coach Conley will be bringing you that game. The if game will be Tuesday at 5:00. But like I said, if everybody stays pat with that first round series, you get your sweep on Monday. You win both games. You don't even have to worry about that if game. So we'll see what happens there. But you can catch all the action right there on 912sports.net. Well, Kevin, we'll wrap up this section, throw it back to Rob. We'll play a few commercials, and we'll come right back here with some more information on Thursday nights with 912 Sports on a Monday. Thanks for watching.